Fred Minnick, I believe, called this the highest upside of any competition throughout his career. So quite big praise. Welcome to Whiskey and SV. I'm your host Sam, and tonight we're joined by our good friend Kevin, the master of bourbon.
Thanks for having me, Sam.
Thank you for joining, Kevin. And thank you for bringing over the Smokeye Hill Barrel Proof. This bottle is getting some quite high accolade from some important personalities in the business. Specifically, Fred Minnick, I believe, called this the highest upside of any competition in any throughout his career. So quite big praise.
That is, yeah.
And some people have been saying it is a GTS killer. So quite inflammatory and high expectations being set here.
It's provocative, right?
Yes.
You know, and so just a little bit about the specs of this particular whiskey. It is barreled or bottled at 131 proof. It is aged at least 5 years. They say 5+ years on the marketing material. And the process is interesting. They use 30 and 53 gallon barrels with chars 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so it's likely a blend across a variety of barrels here. Quite interesting as to what they're trying to do, just to impart some different flavors into this whiskey.
Certainly the story and all that is cool. And I believe it's from Colorado.
Yeah, it's from Colorado, but it's named after a ranch in Arizona.
I see. Yeah, so great story. What I really care about is the juice inside.
Yes.
So, for us, I thought, it's being compared to a GTS, but I figured let's just put it against a average Stagg, junior, or I guess they're not called junior anymore, and see how it fares, because that's the fairest way to get an idea.
I think the nice thing you've chose 22B here, which is 130 proof compared to the 131. So we're getting some
very similar proof. Yeah. Everything's so. Yep, and we poured these samples, these drams, maybe about 10 minutes ago. So they should have had some time to breathe. Although I did open this bottle probably a couple of months ago. This was a fresh crack, but they've been sitting in the glass for 10-15 minutes, so it should be relatively fair. All right, let's dig in. Starting with the Smokeye Hill. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh wow, it has certainly opened up from a fresh crack.
What are you getting, Sam?
When we first opened it, it was kind of grainy, and I'm kind of losing that graininess a little bit. It is becoming it's becoming a little bit more like what you would possibly dare to compare to a Stagg.
Yeah, you get those caramels, a little bit of brown sugar. For me, when it comes to the Staggs, is I get some strong cherry notes, especially on the profile. Some Staggs have it dialed up, some don't. But
I get, on the Buffalo Trace Mash Bill 1, I also get this like bubble gum, like a cherry bubble gum type note, which is I think I'm probably one of few people that gets that note on the Mash Bill 1. But
I get it on Eagle Rare all the time, so it's a great note. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yep, I'm getting actually quite a lot of oak on this, and the grain is coming out a little bit now. So
yeah, so you're getting a little bit of that oak mixed with the grain, which is probably likening it to that 30-gallon barrel, right? So you get a little bit more of that extraction, better surface area contact, and as a consequence, it's going to give you that oakiness a little bit more quickly, despite being a younger age. Right. But the grain is shining through, so there's a little bit of oak, despite there being some youth together there.
All right, let's try it on palate.
Cheers.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of grain on the palate, to be honest. It just drinks kind of hot and youthful.
Yeah, it's the youth certainly shines through a little bit more on that palate. Like you do get those traditional bourbon notes that you want from like a barrel proof whiskey, like those caramels, vanillas, that intensity flavor, but that corn really shines through.
Yes. Okay, well, I think we should try this Stagg, I think, next week.
Let's compare it.
Yeah, because I just by itself, I would say it's not something that I would gravitate towards personally. And in my head, Stagg is way better, but let's see.
Let's try it out.
Oh man,
oh, that's pretty stark.
it's so much smoother on the nose, even though it's basically the same proof. I get 0 ethanol on this.
I get some like milk chocolate.
I can put my nose in here.
Yeah, just right in there, and
it's like no burn.
Even though they're relatively like they're very similar proof.
Yeah.
You get some like milk chocolate. There's like some cherry.
Yeah.
You get no grainy notes. Like that grain is
none whatsoever. It's
non-existent.
very well integrated. Yeah, even on the palate, man, it's just super well integrated. I get zero grainy notes. It's just like very, very, very well integrated.
Yeah.
The baking spices are just the right amount. There's no ethanol notes. The spiciness is enjoyable, pleasant. It gives you, kind of makes your mouth salivate, but not really burn you in any way.
No,
it's good.
Yeah, it's a great breakdown.
I'm a huge fan of these things, man. And if you get Stagg at $60, I wish it was available at $60 all the time. It's so good.
So, what would you compare? Like, what would be your rating between the two?
Well, if I give the Stagg, let's say, like, on my rating, like, I would say it's definitely above a 9, which for me is like, if you buy it at MSRP, instant backup as much as you can. Anything.
The Sam scale.
Yeah. This to me, honestly, is like, if you don't have room on your shelves, I'm okay not to even have it. I would give this like maybe a low 8 point something, like maybe 8.2, 8.1. It's a solid whiskey. It's just like, I have much better stuff on my shelf, honestly, and it's $80, the reasonable price, right? Relatively available, so I can't fault them for that. It's like, it's great that there's a product out there that is not too expensive and findable, but at some point, like, you got to consider health and what else you can drink, and I would just not gravitate towards that at all, personally.
It personally doesn't call to me in the same way that you're describing. For me, I would love to see this expression with the grain kind of aged, matured out of it.
I think maybe like in 10 or 15 years, 10 or 12 years, maybe.
A 10 or 12-year-old expression of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I don't know if this grain note will go away, I think, like, we've had young Buffalo Trace. Like, I've had, the baseline Buffalo Trace mash bill one stuff, the Buffalo Trace bourbon, and you never get any grain on that. Although that's even that is, I think, 7 or 8 years old, right?
Yeah.
That's probably why. So I think 5 years is a bit too young. I can see how 5 years may work with really hot weather. I don't think Colorado is hot enough for that to be the case. So maybe that has something to do with it.
It does have oak. I think that maybe what they're trying to do with the 30-gallon barrel is to try to shortcut the maturation timing.
Yeah. Yeah, just going back and forth, man. All right, so final thoughts. I think, for me, definitely, if you are maybe starting out, it's very hard for you to get Stagg. This might be something to try. If you have a channel where you review stuff, obviously you should try it next to some other stuff if you're curious. But if budget is an issue and you must pick, honestly, like, let's put it this way: if you can get a Stagg for 150 versus buying that at 80, I'd rather buy the Stagg, drink less, better for your health, and you get more enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, I would take the Stagg 10 days out of 10 over the Smokeye Hill.
Yep. Cool. Well, yeah, that's it. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Kevin, for bringing the bottle and for sharing your wisdom.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.